interesting too that the Onyx Zol was actually the blue side earlier on. High percent of a win rate when it comes to teams that are playing on the blue side actually. So this time it's going to be Smart Omega here on the blue side, this time taking away the chip. The Nathan, I'm wondering if they want to pick up the Loi for themselves.
Or they just ban it straight out, right? I think the Luoyi has been such an expensive pick.
Oh,
They
there
might
you
want to
go.
go for the ban, and there you go. It's way too expensive, right? But this leaves up a few options that are still open and up for grabs, right? The Moskov that was earlier
Yeah.
banned out. The Harith is still open for the taking. The Harith doesn't have a great win rate so far, still at 0%, but it's still a big prio in that gold lane.
Yeah, there was a heavy prio or a heavy focus ban on the gold laner earlier for Smart Omega. So they took away like the Moskov, right? Moskov and the Harriet. I think Smart Omega should pick up like their gold laner here very early on, or maybe pick up or steal away some of the roamer heroes here of Jewel, like the Grok. That was just way too good in the hands of Jewel. And yeah, I think this is going to be the case. Smart Omega and Onyx Soul, both of their hero pools are pretty much the same. So it's a matter of what they want to prioritize first. Is it going
All
to be
right,
Grok?
Matilda does get
Oh,
taken out in
uh-huh.
the first phase, so they go for the Moskov first.
Very
So a
interesting.
lot of priorities for the gold lane. They want to give the gold laner a little bit more to work with, but still has that global presence per se, despite the Louis being taken out. But remember, the Harith is still open for the taking.
Yeah, I think for Onyx Soul, they can immediately take that in. I know Rian is very comfortable with that hero, or they can either go with something else instead, like maybe go for Jewel's hero as early as now. But then again, Smart Omega can answer out to that. The Arlot is open. The Minotaur that was banned away in game number 1 is also up for the taking here for Jewel. Usually they go that route, like the mid roam. That will be a priority, or earlier there was a priority on the Terizla as well, so I'm not sure if that's going to be another case, but they lock in the Roger this time, something different for Onyx All.
Yeah, it's good flex, right? That's the main thing about the Roger. It's good flex. You can flex it into the jungle position. You can also flex into the gold lane. But after the changes towards the Roger is better in the gold lane for that snowball potential. And in the jungler position, it doesn't work as well. But now Smart Omega, they get a chance to go for the counter. Earlier on, they were able to utilize the Arlet, the Yuzongs. If they want to go for flex, maybe they can pick up the Arlet here. It still can be flexed into the EXP lane or the roaming position. Or do they want to go for a mid lane pick here?
Yeah. Oh, a Barrett's being stolen away from Smart Omega. Oh, okay. Since they already picked up the Vexana, like Smart Omega did not hesitate to pick up that Faramis specialty coming out from Amore. A lot of dive possibilities here from the side of Smart Omega as well. Extended team fights coming through here as well. And it seems like they're not going to prioritize either the Grok or the Minotaur. I think they're saving that for last. They're just picking up all of these heroes that have the damage. And there goes the Minotaur. I was saying it was still open and Smart Omega had other priorities. They're going to give it to Jewel this time. And most of the time she has this in her hands, it's going to be a high chance of winning as well for Onyx Sol. But for Smart Omega, they have a lot of their comfort picks up as well for this particular round. What I noticed too, Eterna, is that they really need to give not Ayanami something that she's comfortable with. Like, she's played with the Yuzong several times. I do understand that it's to take down the backlines, but it has to be something that she's a little bit more comfortable with. I think she is more comfortable with heroes like, heroes that can set up the place like Terbizla, or maybe even the Arlot here that can work well for her.
And remember, the Barretts is still flex. And it is
Yeah.
one of the heroes that she's utilized before. So the Barretts is still a possibility for her to pick up in that EXP lane. But Florin gonna be banned out here by Onic. And the thing is about the Faramis pick, it was kind of iffy for me, right? The Faramis, I understand, right? You want to have a little bit more to say, more leeway in these team fights. But the fact that you're grouping up together
Yeah.
just gives so much more potential for the Vexana to shine with all
The Minotaur, yeah.
with everything she has in her kit, and then the Minotaur afterwards. But the Faramis into the Vexana was a little bit weird for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think they will not unless it's a Mirai hero. I haven't seen her pull this off just yet. Most of the time, it goes to Amor. So they take away the Grok here, which I mentioned that Mirai is also pretty good at using the Terizla as well. That has been a priority for Onyx. All has been taken away. We haven't seen the XP lane matchup again. So many flex picks coming out from the side of Smart Omega. Again, it could be a not Ayanami hero. It could be a Keishi hero. We still don't know where this Barrett's is gonna go, but I think Smart Omega is going to adjust to what Onyx All will pick out here first. They still need either a jungler or a golden. I still can't tell if Ben is gonna use this in the jungle or is it gonna be Rian's hero. Harris
Honestly,
is
I
still
think an
open.
X-Borg pickup is still so good
Oh
right
yeah,
now
up
for
against the
Onic, right?
Faramis.
Because either way, against the Faramis, it's such a good counter towards the Barretts. If they want to flex it into the jungle, if they want to flex it into the EXP lane, that flex potential for the Barretts in the EXP lane with the export pick should be impossible. It should negate it because the export counters the Barretts so well. But we'll see the next pick. Oh, they go for the
Oh
Benedetta. So focusing more on clear, focusing more
yeah.
on the macro plays instead of going for team fight.
Yeah, Attorney Ang's specialty. Wow. Throwback to that. Like she's been using this as well. Like there was a priority on the Terizla in the earlier games, but right now I think picking up the Benedetta is good as well since it seems like Smart Omega is going for the team fights, care of the Faramis, and having that Benedetta kind of pressure in the side lanes is going to be really good. Smart Omega, they need to lock in either their jungler or their XP lane. Again, we still don't know. And it's going to be crucial to pick up Mirai's hero as well. She is the type of player that can do the place. And Arlott, will she still go for the Arlott or will she go for another type of setter tank?
That's the question, right? Matilda banned out, Minotaur taken away. But there you go, the Akai
Oh,
as well as the Arlet. So Arlet in the XP lane, we do see the Akai should be for Mirai in the roam. We've seen her on the Akai before.
yeah. Yeah, we've seen her on the Akai. This was a something that I'm surprised too personally because like when they locked in the Akai, I was like, where's it gonna go? Is it jungle? But then again, yeah, Mirai is one of the few roamers that has utilized the Akai to be what it's supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be a tank that can set up the play. You did mention the X-Borg earlier, Eterna, and here it comes, a perfect
Wait,
combination up against the
Bene
Paramis.
Jungle?
Is it? Yeah, it's a jungle X-Borg. Yeah, I was expecting
Oh,
like the
Jungle
yeah.
X-Borg!
It's good up against the Barretts. It's good up against the Fairmans. It's just good. They locked it in last, and here it is. The final picks here for both sides for Spot Omega and Onyx Zol in this match point.
Wow, I haven't seen a Jungle X-Borg in so long. I think we've seen it in MPLPH, but for Indonesia, nada. I think the last time we
Ever?
saw it was like season 8. It's been so long since we've seen the X-Borg in the jungle.
Wow. Okay, I've seen it in the XP. I've seen it in the jungle, or oh wait, I've seen it in the jungle. Yes, in PH. I've also seen it in the XP lane, heavily used in MPL Cambodia. Like they really love the X-Borg so much. Great crowd control. I think this was also a thing. Centuries ago, I would say centuries ago, but probably like a couple of patches ago where the X-Borg was so OP in the jungle. I mean, it was used every single rank game and now it's a throwback. I would say it's good. Like it's a good counter to Faramis, good counter to the Barretts, and great way to actually secure in those neutral objectives as well.
And it looks like the wave clear is great at the moment as we're taking a look at both of these junglers. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's just get straight into game number 2. Match point now for Onic. If they can secure another game over the hands of Omega Empress, they will move forward into the next stage of the tournament. And we will have to say goodbye to Smart Omega Empress.
A lot of specialties from both sides. Ayanami, there you go. Having the Arlott in her hands once again. And looking at the emblems here, Eterna, we see a lot of concussive blasts coming through for both the junglers, even the XP laners. The Benedetta here has picked that up as well for their side.
Yeah, they're looking for better wave clear, right? With the concussive blast, it should aid them in this early game rotation. There's a lot of emphasis as well on mobility for Amor with the Faramis, and you can actually see that playing through into their gameplay, right? Already an early gank here in the top lane, understanding that the Benedetta does clear really, really quick in this EXP lane. They want to try and look for a counter play for it.
Oh, Keishi actually doing a different rotation this time, going towards the gold lane. Usually she would rotate towards the XP, but considering how Rian played earlier, they really have to put that in check. And looking at how things are panning out, a lot of pressure as well onto Not Ayanami on this top side. Three members of Onyx Sol looking to burst her down. No level 4 power spikes just yet.
They want to try and set up for the next neutral objective, try to punish Not Ayanami, not even taking her out, maybe even just punishing her in terms of HP, forcing a recall will be just exactly what they need to go for this neutral objective setup because at this point, Bene level 4, Keishi at level 4, so it's a 50-50 up until this point, but Bene has a little bit of more to work with, right? With that level 4, utilizing it can go for anti-CC against Keishi.
Yep. And here you have it. The first turtle of the game. We see that Jewel was already chunked down real low. No level 4 power spike just yet. It's going to be Retribution Battle. Keishi going to be able to take that in as the Netherrealm has been committed as well. Jewel going to go for the clapback there. Keishi's going to be taken down for the price of Bene. So equal trades for both sides. Jungler for a jungler.
That's a 1-for-1 trade, but Smart Omega pick up the turtle.
Yeah, that was something that they didn't have in game number 1, right? Like there were pickoffs, there were at least equal trades when it comes to the kills, but yeah, this was something Smart Omega lacked in game number 1. The turtle takes, which all went to Onyx All, which further elevated their gold laner to get the items that it needs. And let's take a look at the items so far on what each of the team members have built. So far, it's a lot of the tough boots on, especially the frontliners of both sides. And we're seeing Smart Omega actually going towards their first item as early as now as compared to Onyx All, who needs a little bit more time.
We also see a lot of steel leg plates and leather jerkins to respect that physical damage in the early stage of the game, allowing them to have a little bit more say in these team fights, especially earlier on when we saw the neutral objective take. But there you go. Shinoa with the first item, Corrosion Scythe, already built up. But meanwhile, EXP lane, both of these teammates, they're just battling it out.
Yeah, they say that the XP lane is the loneliest, right? Because most of the time there's a lot of clashes all across the map and you really have to sustain your lane and kind of outplay the other player. But so far, right, it's a Benedetta Arlot, so we haven't seen any of those crazy plays yet. Attorney Ang has that Petrify though for a little bit more advantage when it comes to the team fights. And now Mirai will be soaking up the damage. This is a Kai after all, right? They're waiting for the proper time to lay down that Hurricane Dance.
That's why it's a surprise that Rian went for Purify, but Rain didn't. Rain went for Flicker. So, with all that crowd control being thrown at her, all she can do is flicker out of it. So, that's definitely something that Smart Omega Empress can capitalize over. Meanwhile, Benedetta finally reached level 7, so it's a 50-50 now in terms of Retribution Battle.
Yep, they're gonna have to go for the hero lock first, and now Rain is gonna be the first one to use up that Eternal Guard, forcing out the Netherrealm from Amore. Bene as well still has that last Insanity. Authority Ang here to join the party, goes over the Petrifier onto Mirai, still able to survive. Last Insanity being committed here by Bene, but he does not have the Firaga armor right now, so this is the right time to go for the side of Smart Omega. They're gonna zone away the rest of the members of Onyx Sol, and Bene, without the immortality, without the Firaga armor, he's just not able to get anything. Not again, Nami. There you go. I was telling you this. Like, she's so comfortable with this hero, goes all the way, dives right back in, and this gives Smart Omega a better position to take in the turn.
She's gonna be taken down, but she bought so much time and was able to trade in Bene for it. That was definitely worth it for Smart Omega Empress as they pick up the gold lead and they go and move forward. Keishi gonna be able to steal that purple buff away as well. So that's a purple buff not being able to be utilized by Bene later on.
Yeah, so many big trades here for the side of Smart Omega. Beautifully timed final slash there onto Bene, because if it was not used at that time, like that would have been at least either a steal for the side of Onyx Sol taking in the turtle, and Smart Omega they just feel like they shouldn't give away these turtles to Onyx Sol. You see how fast the game progressed in game number 1, and they're not gonna let that happen once again. 2-2 is our score. 6 minutes in, they still have to take the towers here, and Smart Omega, they're looking to use in that heavy spin from Mirai onto Rian. He's just a Roger here right now. Half HP for the tower on the top side, and so far it is Shinoa leading when it comes to the gold, followed by Rian.
You know, it's like what they say, right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah.
And it looks like Smart Omega Empress here in game number 2, they're not going down without a fight. They are controlling everything left, right, and center, but They still can fluctuate. Murray, though,
Okay, I thought that Bennett was gonna go for the last insanity, but that's just gonna be a lot of resources burned before the turtle. Now we know that Rian and Jewel is right there. Three members of Smart Omega trying to kind of sandwich in that top side while the rest of the members gonna go in for the objectives once again. Smart Omega, remember they got in all of the turtles so far in this game and it really aids Shinoa to get in the items that she needs.
and there you go, another item in the belt of Shinoa. We have the golden staff being built up, so that should be 2 items. Unless we're missing another item. So just one more item to get to that power spike, and that global presence will be a problem later on, especially when the groupings start to happen. And that's where Aryang should come to play, right? With the Benedetta tries to look for that far lane, tries to set up more pressure into the side lanes, but Aryang seems to be more positioned in these team fights.
Yep, it's gonna be Bennett, the first target though. Attorney Ang gonna try to go in for Keishi, but dives right in, goes in for the Detona's welcome, and there goes the Netherrealm as well, sustaining everyone. But there goes the knockout from Zenoan's Fury. Amor is gonna be the first one to fall. There's no more Netherrealm, and it's actually a clapback from the side of Onyx Zol. They actually baited out the Netherrealm. They forced Smart Omega Empress to use up all of their ultimates before Jewel goes for the setup.
Keishi was level ahead, so definitely the retribution. Oh, wait a minute, a re-engage from Jewel? But they don't commit onto it. But back again, right? Keishi was a level ahead, so they did have the advantage when it came down to it. And they saw that Shinoa wasn't even present for that team fight, so it was a 5v4. Onyx Zol saw that opportunity, punched the gas, and was able to get a trade out of it. But unfortunately, Shinoa, with that space, was able to get a turret in the top side and still leading with a 1.2k gold lead.
Attorney Ang, you mentioned the fast wave clears, and here it is, comes in the form of the Benedetta. A whole lot more, right? Like you see why not Ayanami's not able to push these lanes forward. Like it's just very good to sustain out the lanes of Onyx Zol on the sides. And so far right now, looking at the lead, it's still going to be Smart Omega leading right now with a 1k lead, care of all the turtles that they've taken, but they have to be extra careful from the re-engages that will be coming out from Onyx Zol.
Rain has a Winter Truncheon now. 9 minutes in, Winter Truncheon. So that damage is starting to ramp up. And if Omega do not respect the capacity that Onyx Zol can have in these particular team fights, it might be a problem. And now you can see Attorney Ang also picked up the Malefic Roar. So expect more penetration, more damage, and more kill pressure for their side when they go down and dance.
It seems like both of these teams like have the team fight capability. You got the Faramis here on the mid lane, but what I'm just really worried about is the mid lane matchup too, right? Like the Faramis, it's great for sustaining all these clashes. You've seen it, right, with the Netherrealm. But when it comes to the AoE, when it comes to the range, Rain just has so much more, which kind of explains why she has the most damage right now. Everybody is a little bit more stable here when it comes to the side of Smart Omega. Like there's a lot of heavy frontliners, and with the Vexana here of Rain, it just really enables Onyx Zol to take in all of these team fights that they want to engage in. And here comes the first Lord, 10 minutes in. Keishi already starting it up. They still have the lead right now, and not Ayanami doing her best as well to make sure that this bottom lane moves as well.
Keishi's a level ahead as well, so there's definitely a priority for Keishi to take this retribution battle. But
Oh wow,
who's to say what?
solo
Was that
kill.
a solo kill?
Yep.
On Attorney Ang? This is the perfect moment for Smart Omega to punch the gas.
Yep, and Shinoa can also push in the lane on the top side. Onic right now, they want to force out this Lord, not Ayanami. Still has that final slash, gets it on Bene, gets it on Jewel, but goes in for the Minoa's Fury right after the Netherrealm has been popped. Rain as well going for the Eternal Guard, but somebody has to take control of that tower. On the top side, it's going to be Bene picking up that Lord with that retribution. But right now, will Omega just go for more here? Not Ayanami. Not gonna go for more of the punish. Look at how fast Shinoa's chunking down the towers. Okay, they might have taken the Lord, but Smart Omega has just given, or Onyx Zol has given too much to Smart Omega. That's 2 towers taken in by Shinoa.
And it makes sense, right? You can see Shinoa already with 3 items. She has the DHS, the Golden Staff, as well as the Corrosion Size. So the attack speed is there. You can see the Shred coming through. And now with the Wind of Nature, so already 4 items in. Shinoa wasn't even present in that team fight. Imagine when she is. And the fact she's already building towards that Wind of Nature, already has it under her belt, will give Onyx Zol a bit of a harder time to
Whoa.
take her down. Look at
Yeah.
that shred! Look at
Yeah.
the damage! It's a worthless lord!
Yeah, I mean, you were trying to push it. Even the top side was not taken in. And this was, I think, the plan of Smart Omega, right? Like, okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, we'll try to contest for the Lord, but as long as Shinoa is able to farm up, that should be
Ooh.
fine. 1v1 duel here on the top side. They're still both A-okay, but bottom side, though, Shinoa is in trouble there. That's 4 members of Onyx all gonna try to get in the lane, but there's no minion wave, so they have to back away. 3-5 is our score. Shinoa's looking really deadly right now. She has more gold than Rian and more items as well.
Exactly. It's reflected towards her items. And them utilizing this Roger in the gold lane again requires them to go in for a snowball. And the fact that they haven't been able to get that does put Onyx Zol at a little bit of a disadvantage when it comes down to it. Yang as well, right? We thought that perhaps with so much underlining and so much presence in the team fights for Smart Omega Empress when they went in for the draft picks, that Yang with a split push could be able to look for a loophole. But so far it's been Shinoa that has been better at the side lane pressure. And I don't think Onyx Zol really accounted in for that when they opted to go for the Benedetta on Yang.
Yeah, I think she wanted to go for the split push, right? But you've seen the solo kill that was done by Shino and how fast she was chunking down the Lord on the bottom side. She has that damage. And you can kind of see Amor as well as Mirai just aiding her to push in this tower. And she has the most gold right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was some solo kills that are being made here. As compared to Rian, that is a little bit more team fight eccentric when it comes to the Roger. And so far, everything is at standstill right now. No one's going for the full commit just yet. Everybody has the items that they need. 13 minutes in, the next Lord is going to be important for both Onyx Zol and Smart Omega.
For sure. All of them are looking for the next neutral objective, right? They're trying to find as much information as they can to look for an advantage in this 5v5 because Keishi already at level 15. Meanwhile, Bene still at level 14. Just a little bit more to go to even out that playing field. But up until this point, still so much advantage that Smart Omega Empress have. I think in this next upcoming Lord, they need to figure out a way to try and bait out the Netherrealm from Amor because if they utilize all their resources and Amor still has the Netherrealm up and available to utilize, they're not going to be able to win these team fights in a long drawn fight.
Yeah, they need to have that burst damage, right? But with the Netherrealm, it's more of, sustaining in the team fights. And again, a 1v1 duel on the bottom side. Attorney Ang and Shinoa. Actually, you know what? Attorney Ang is backing away from the Moscow of Shinoa. She actually took down the tower on the bottom side, but here, it's another story. It is going to be a battle between Onyx Zol and Smart Omega Empress. Global presence here from the Moscow. I'm not so sure. Okay, Shinoa already joins in the fight, but here comes Niminowan's Fury. Netherrealm for the save as Bene does not have the immortality. They're gonna go for the fight here. Bene chunked out real low. Immortality being popped in. And Natayanami gonna go in for the final slash as the rest of the members still being able to sustain the team fight. Everybody is still up. No one was taken down. How clean was that from both sides?
Exactly. And it looks like Rian wanted to go for the re-engage onto the turtle, on the Lord rather, and they were like, nah, okay, no chance, right? Smart Omega Empress, they were low, but none of them were taken out, but it did give them Onyx Zol a little bit more time to play with because right before Shinoa went in for the re-engage with the spear, she picked up the Malefic Roar. So she is definitely ready for these team fights. She is ready to battle it out in a 1v1 in these particular team fights, depending on how she goes in and weaves in and out of these team fights. But Onyx Zol, I don't know what they should do at this point. Do they look for a pick onto Shinoa? I mean, they see the pattern that Shinoa goes for, right? She
Yeah.
always looks for a split push before she joins into the neutral objective fights. But it looks like Onyx Zol, they're still going to play into this pattern.
Yep. Without Attorney Ang, that shouldn't be a problem for, Amor as well as Shinoa. And the Lord, it's not being let go here of Keishi. He's been stacking up. But right now, without Attorney Ang, that's a really big factor, right? Like, and at the same time, like, Shinoa is able to get in all of these solo kills onto the split push that Attorney Ang is doing. And right now she's already here at the Lord fight, not Ayanami going in for the final slash. There goes to Minoan's Fury right into the Nether Realm, still able to sustain everybody. Attorney Ang from the backside going in for the Petrify right after the Nether Realm is down. Lord is still up. Who's gonna be able to take it? It's gonna be Keishi with the Retribution on, stolen in from their side as Onyx all gonna try to go in for
Whoa, Rian!
Going for the double. Is she gonna go for the triple? Gonna go in for a double for both Rian and Rain, denying the triple, but it's all fine. 3 members of Smart Omega, they're down, but they do have the Lord on their side.
That was huge! That was a huge play for Onyx Zol, right? Just when you thought that perhaps losing the jungler meant that it was the end of them, Onyx were able to find a loophole in these team fights and look for a push in the mid lane. Only 2 members are left standing, 9 seconds left on the timer. They should be able to get their hands on this inhibitor turret, but not just yet.
Heavy spin on to Jewel. Okay, he's been taken down. One problem out for the side of Smart Omega, but that was such a heavy price to pay in turn. Now there was, wow, all of the turrets on the mid lane taken out. Rian getting a killing spree, 302, not yet shut down, and she just waited for the right timing to actually use in that Lycan Pounce and just wipe everybody out. 3 members of Smart Omega gone just like that.
That was a big play, right? They waited until all the resources from Smart Omega Empress were utilized, and then Rian went in with a dive with the Lycan Pounce and was able to get that many kills. That was a big moment for Onyx Zol, and there is a possibility that this could prolong this series, right? Roger, now we can see, looking at the items, already at full build with the Wind Talker as well, very interesting, as well as the GDS. So a lot more movement speed when she goes into these team fights with the Malefic Roar. There's also penetration, so despite Smart Omega Empress building against that physical damage from Rian, she's going to be able to burst through that with the damage that she's already been built.
Yeah, I mean, Rian is already catching up right now. Like, it was just Shinoa being able to get in a lot of these solo kills onto Attorney Ash. She was able to build up her items first, care of the turtles, but right now it is Onyx Zol that has the gold lead, 1,300. And right now, Mirai, Amor, okay, Jewel, does she have that flicker? She has it. Does not commit to the Minoan's Fury just yet, but this is a lot of pressure from Smart Omega right now that Rian has already gotten in that killing spree. So it's gonna be up to Shinoa. If not that, it's Amore. But she has 2 tasks. She has to sustain the team fight. She still has to give out the damage output. So it's really, really difficult to pull off this Faramis, like what you said, right? It needs a whole lot more AoE for the side of Smart Omega. But as compared to Onyx Sol, it's a more balanced lineup that they have here right now. But again, late game, it is gonna favor the side of Smart Omega Empress. They still do have that Moskov.
Definitely. Yeah, this Moskov is going to be a problem, but Shinoa is going for a very interesting build, actually, right? Shinoa built in the Rose Gold Meteor and the Wind of Nature. Usually we see players go for the switches between these items, but she goes for both. So she is opting for more of a defensive build in these team fights. Perhaps, like you mentioned, right, a lot of pressure on Shinoa's shoulders right now to dish out that damage. So she's respecting it with that, but she's also sacrificing her damage output, which is going to be very interesting to see how this pans out in this next team fight. Finally, we do see a read from Onyx Zol. We see that Rian is opting to go towards this bottom lane. I don't know if Shinoa is aware of this or not, but it looks like Rian gonna go for the rotation back into the Lord Pit.
Yep, 1 member out for the side of Smart Omega, but at the same time, Shinoa has that global presence, can drop in that spear anytime and join in that team fight. Lord is already at half HP. We might just see a setup play coming out from Jewel, not Ayanami, perhaps even Mirai, getting in that heavy spin onto Bene, onto Rain. It has been laid out here right now. Shinoa gonna try to go in for Jewel at the exact same spot. There goes the Nether Realm. Jewel goes in for the setup play, and now they're able to take her down. But there's a whole lot more heroes to take down. Rain from the backside. Here, if not Ayanami, And now Bene without the immortality here. She still has the last insanity though. Members of Smart Omega are cornering her out. She's still at 1 HP. And finally, Smart Omega get what they wanted and get a clapback. And it's called care of Shinoa, dropping in that spear dead and going in for the initiation.
Yeah, 3-0 trade, ladies and gentlemen, for Smart Omega Empress as they regain control in the 21st minute of the game. They're gonna go ahead and try and blitz the Lord here. Without a jungler from the side of Onyx Zol, they should be able to get this uncontested. Only 2 members are left standing from Onyx Zol, and they don't have anything to say unless Attorney Yang wants to go for a miracle play?
Okay, I think it's way too risky right now, Eterna. She's just gonna respect the fact that Smart Omega just won in that trade and they finally get in the Lord. The second Luminous Lord for this game goes to Smart Omega. They are dubbed as the late game queens after all, and it seems to be working well for them so far, even though that Onyx Zol has gotten in that clapback, and this is the time where we see all of the immortalities being purchased here by both sides. It's Smart Omega on the driver's seat once again.
Yep, 22 minutes. One of the longest games that we've had so far today in all 3 matches. And you're right, Smart Omega Empress, they have been pushing it up until this point. And the fact is, Onyx Zol has not been able to look for a loophole up until this point. Amor with the Divine Glaive as well, going to be able to dish out that damage. You don't feel it, you don't see it, but the Faramis does a lot of damage, especially when Onyx Zol comes up with one another. The Lord is marching here in the top side. We'll see the siege coming in from the Smart Omega Empress.
They have to watch out for the setup here of Jewel. She does have that flicker that can kind of turn the tides around, but right now with Smart Omega, they want to get in those objectives right now. Look at how fast Shinoa is chunking that in. They have the super minions. Will they try to go for the end? I think it's a little bit too risky here right now because Onyx Zol can actually clap back here. Keishi gonna be soaking up the damage. There's the Nether Realm. There is the Minoan's Fury here as well, but there goes the heavy spin onto Jewel. Gonna be knocking in, going for the re-engage. Final slash completed by Nata Yanami, as well as Saturnia getting taken down there by Shinoa. The rest of the members here of Onyx Zol are down low. Double kill for Shinoa. They lock in the base. There's enough minion waves. He gets a triple and ends the game as Smart Omega Empress will balance out the series. 1-1 is our score.
We're finally going to a game number 3, ladies and gentlemen, after